Welcome back to the channel. Doing another one. Um, Today we're gonna do another No Most Nice Guy. This is part of that Nice Guy series, episode 25. Right? Episode 25. Integrity. What is integrity? What is integrity? And this term I came across. I think it was from uh, Order of Man on YouTube, which I really like, is self-betrayal. When you're out of integrity, you are in self-betrayal, which I think is pretty cool. So, um, yeah. So this is part of the No Most Nice Guy series. Shall we get into it? So first, what is integrity? How do I interpret integrity? Well, integrity is being honest with yourself and with others. Really. Um, deep. So deep within yourself, you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. That is, you can't tell me you don't know. You do know in yourself, you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And then when you actually do what you think is right, even in the face of your fears, that is being in integrity. Even if you're scared, even if you're terrified, panicked, whatever, you know it's right and you act upon that, you're in integrity. So even when you're lying to yourself, you know you are lying to yourself. It's self-betrayal. You can feel it inside of you. It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel bad. And you make up stories or excuses or whatever to cover it, cover up your lies or dishonesty, right? And again, there's a term I like to use is called self-betrayal, because you know what you should be doing and you're going against that. You're going against yourself. That's why I like that term. um yeah, so integrity is just being what you say you are, right? Being in line with your integrity. And so what does this mean for nice guys? Nice guys, they believe they are honest and trustworthy, which is false. It's a false belief. It's not in reality. Most, or 99.9% of nice guys are pulling the wool over their own eyes, and trying to justify their lives. For example, they will tell half truths, and or just not tell you everything. Or if you confront them, then they'll just say, like, I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you everything. Self is guilty. I'm included in this. Um, Dishonesty is, well, it's in the next one, but dishonesty is based in fear. You are afraid of making the other person upset or angry with you with telling the truth. So out of that fear, you try to cover it up. So you know the other person will disagree with you. So in order to just not rock the boat, you will either not tell the full truth or lie about something. But this makes fear in a relationship, needless fear in a relationship. There's no point to this. This relationship is fear based. It's not worth having a relationship like this because it can crumble. Um, so you didn't tell the truth, and now you have to worry about a cover-up story, right? So this makes that whole relationship a really weird dynamic, that fear-based dynamic of you didn't tell the truth of what you're doing or what you are doing, or what you did and what you are doing, which then creates fear of being caught in that lie or that half truth, and then This creates guilt. One, you build guilt, and then you got to think of create of the cover stories, and then you know you're being wrong and dishonest. Then you've got this whole guilty feeling, and it just ruins everything. You don't enjoy the experiences, right? Because you're stuck in fear. Let's check the next. So yeah, so that was what is integrity and what it is the opposite of it, self betrayal. So let's look at examples of self betrayal. So I'll give examples of self betrayal in my life. I have a few examples that I will share. I used to do this, and I still very much do some of these things. Um, I'm on this journey too. Uh, it takes a while. You don't notice a lot, or you do notice it, but you got to go back and fix it. Um, so some things I do that creates that self betrayal on myself. For example, I used to be afraid of going out for lunch in case my wife would misunderstand and think I'm doing something wrong. So if colleagues, would invite me out, I didn't want to rock a boat at that point. There was a lot going on. I just couldn't. So I was just not tolerant that I went out for lunch with colleagues, and then during that lunch, I used to feel so guilty, and I would also constantly panic at being discovered because maybe she's like coming out for lunch with her friends or something, and then they come past me and I haven't told her, and you build up this whole story, and then you gotta try to think of a cover like, oh, okay, if she discovers me, why am I here? It's like, oh, I didn't have it was a meeting, or yeah, you gotta constantly trying to spin the scenarios of different points of views. Whereas if I was just honest, I didn't try to hide it, all of that panic and fear and stress that caused just would never have happened, and I would have actually enjoyed the lunch. Um, yes, there was a risk of that. Maybe she was upset, but if you were just honest about it, you would have felt so much better. I would have felt, wow, this is amazing. I can just enjoy myself. So, another few examples here. So, the first year of my relationship with my wife was sort of a hell. It was awful because I didn't have integrity. And I was like, I was doing the classic nice guy thing. I was walking on eggshells, hiding everything I thought she wouldn't approve of, and making it an even bigger mess. I mean, for example, I used to be a massive anime fan, um, and I used to like a lot of erotic anime pictures. Like the bikinis and all that. The sexy pictures and stuff. Obviously, I also used to like real woman stuff. You know, um, I used to have all of that all everywhere. Like on my phone and Instagram and stuff. I was always following the models and anime stuff. Well, first I was kind of naive when I met my wife. I didn't really understand the way relationship dynamics go. Um, and I'm still learning now. I'm not saying I do know now, but I'm a lot wiser than I was back then. Um, so like obviously like all the sexy pictures of real women and whatnot, it turns out women don't actually like stuff like that. Figures, who knew that? Um, so at first I tried to hide it when I discovered she didn't like it. I tried to hide it, and then obviously the truth always comes out. So eventually it was discovered, um, and I said I don't do it anymore, but I did, and I hid it, and it was discovered again, and it just created this whole scenario of trying to hide and feeling guilty and trying to make cover stories, and which then just it blows up. Whereas, for example, if I had been just honest and got my priorities straight, I could have said no, I won't stop, or I could have really chosen to stop. So for example, if I chose this as a hill to die on, for example, if I was like, no, okay, I really want to keep the pictures, and I had just been honest and said to her like, listen, this is what it's gonna be like for me. Obviously this is a dumb example in my opinion. You why would you base this off? But anyway, um, like okay, I don't want to give up the pictures, so now it's your choice. Either you stay or you go. It's up to you. Make it a priority. Like obviously, put it in context. Like for me, it wasn't a priority. Pictures didn't mean anything. Um, they were, I don't think they're good for your mind anyway. So I got rid of the pictures. Deleted all of the stuff, and then I really chose to stop. And I don't have that guilty feeling. I don't have to worry about hiding my phone. My phone's out in the open. Um, like I don't know about a lot of other people's relationships, but for me, my phone's open, her phone's open. We have a lot of the same passwords and stuff. Like we have nothing that we're hiding. Obviously, we do respect each other's privacy, but it doesn't mean like we go through each other's stuff all the time. It's like no, it's there, Like, but because we do live in an integrity, and we are honest on what we're doing on our both sides, it's open. It's like we don't have to hide anything, which is pretty nice. Um, so yeah, some another example of the first beginning is so remember during this first year I was the ultimate nice guy. I'm not as where I am now. Did not know what I was doing. I was a weak person, had weak character. So a lot of the stuff, what do they call it? Shit tests. So a lot of the shit tests and everything, I failed all of them badly. Boundaries failed. So that's initially why I'm on this path. I mean, so like X is on Facebook. Well, that became a topic one day, and I was like, oh no, I don't have any. And again, I did have, and she found out eventually. I'm not good at lying, but she found out, and that became an issue. Whereas if I was honest and aligned with integrity, I would have just been honest and told forthcoming and said, yeah, there are some, but it's what would you say? It's a neutral relationship. Like when it ended, it wasn't bad. It was we both agreed like this ain't working, so we kind of just finished it. Um, and then we could have taken it from there and discussed what about the rest of that. Um, if I would have been honest, most of the issues we had in our beginning of our relationship, if I had just been honest in integrity with myself, with her, most of it would never have happened. Um, but I handled everything poorly, and wasn't in integrity. Everything was trying to hide everything and rocking the not rocking the boat. Just everything was out of fear, which is not a place you want to be operating from. If you want a real genuine relationship, you don't want to operate out of fear. Um, you know, it made us deal with a lot of issues. I mean, we both were kind of immature at that point. We never really understood what it meant to fully trust someone, to fully put yourself out there in a sense. Um, Obviously, we still don't. Doesn't mean you have to spill everything, but be honest with your partner as you go along, how you feel. So yeah, so we dealt with a lot of issues, and for example, for me, I could never in the beginning, I could never understand. I came from the South Africa where a lot of people I knew, you still had exes on Facebook if you had a good relationship. You ended well. You still had. I could never understand. This is just one example, but I could never understand like why is this an issue? Why is it such a massive issue? Um, I understand now, but and I don't think you should keep exes, whether it's a good relationship or not, unless you have kids with them. But other than that, I don't. I think move on. Just cut all contact. You don't need them. Move on. But that's just me. Um, that's the conclusion I came to. So yeah, and then one day I just asked like, why is this upsetting you so much? Why does this upset you? Why is it such a big deal? I don't understand. And the answer I got from her kind of shocked me. It does tie into some other things to probably do in the future, or some other channels that I've already like I watched that like Ryan Stone talks about this and whatnot. Um, but there was such a why was it such a big deal, and why does it upset her so much? So she said, which blew my mind, it is not the fact that I had exes on Facebook, although that still did upset her a bit. You know, she wasn't happy about that. But it was the fact of my dishonesty, that me always lying and then her always finding out that I either didn't tell the whole truth, or I was dishonest. I lied about it and tried to cover it instead of just being honest about it. That's what hurt her the most. This is the fact, like, how do I trust you if you're gonna just not tell me everything, or just hide it, or lie about it, which kind of made sense. So it wasn't the actual fact of the things I had or did. It did a bit, but it was more of the fact of you're just not honest enough to come and man enough to come forth with what it is you are doing and what it is you want, and your boundary on that. Like, are you sticking with that? Is it me or that? Or um, you know. So it's like when you that's I was just found that interesting. Right. So the next part is dishonesty is fear based. Okay, I'm gonna go a bit faster because I think this one's a bit long. So dishonesty is a fear based behavior. A lot of reasons why nice guys are dishonest is because they are afraid. They're afraid to rock the boat. They're afraid to have people that are angry at them. They don't want to sit in that uncomfortable space. And this goes back to the childhood experiences, all the childhood experiences of abandonment and whatnot. So, but with being dishonest comes all this deceit and trying to keep track of all the distortions of reality you have told yourself and everyone else, right? All the lies and interconnecting covers, and this this is not easy. And this is where my downfall came. This is where she discovered a lot of my lies. I would forget about details I said before, and then I would say something, and it's not how I mentioned it before, and then eventually it didn't add up, and then that led to her exposing me and like it's just confronting me about it. It's like, why you said this? Why is it this? Um. So yeah, so that is it's a fear-based behavior. Dishonesty is just you are scared of being honest. And then you got the life of integrity, which is what I'm trying to get. Full life of integrity. And if I had just been honest from the beginning and did what I thought was right, what I agreed with, life would have been easier. Sure, this doesn't mean people will always like you. You will rock the boat, and you will get people upset at you. Still, this is easier, and you then all the deceit, and you feel great about yourself. You don't feel guilty, worried that they will find out something. Like, yeah, you're gonna have people upset, but the good thing is you've honest, you stood by what you believe. So you don't it takes a while, but so that which ties into the next part. It still takes work. This does not mean like this is like an instantaneous just mind switch and then you got it. No, it still takes a lot of work to close that integrity gap. um, Nice guys will often have to practice being truthful, one step at a time. It'll take more than one attempt to get the whole truth out. um, I'm still on this journey. I'm still on this road myself. I keep closing that integrity gap. I'm maybe 8% done, maybe 10 more. I would often, still hide things or try to avoid what I know is right, just because it'll put me in an uncomfortable situation. And what happens is I have to catch myself, and either I go back and tell the truth, or I not hide whatever I'm doing. Um, Examples of this is, I gave some facts. When was it? A while back. I gave some facts that I thought might be true. It's a silly example. And afterwards, I knew I was wrong. I looked up the facts again, and I saw like, okay, no, I was wrong. So instead of just leaving it, and because the discussion was finished, but instead of just leaving it, I went back and I apologized to the person, like, hey, I'm sorry, um, I had the wrong facts. These are the correct facts, just so I could be in integrity with that person or in my life. And the more you do this, the more aware of it you become, and the more you can course correct. You can go back and do it. And I've felt massive fear doing this. Like body shaking, sweating, mouth is dry, short of breath. Um, when you have to try to tell the truth and stuff. But once you get it out in the open, there's just like this massive release of pressure, and you feel light and you feel great, even though you still feel of the outcome because the other person's angry. You feel weightless. You feel grateful that the truth is out. You feel relieved. At first it was getting exposed by the lies that led me to this little enlightenment. Of there's something's not right. I'm not lying, or just not telling everything. I'm not lying or just telling everything. Then during the first year, I eventually, in my relationship, I decided, okay, this is not right. I don't think I'm lying. She's saying I'm lying. Where is this disconnect kind of coming from? And that's when I decided to look for a lot of the problems that I had online to like see if anyone else is dealing with this. And I discovered the what was it, the red pill back then. I don't know if it's still used now, but I discovered the red pill. Um, and that's where I discovered Robert Glover's book No More Mr. Nice Guy, which then helped me to see my lies and betrayal, which is this video. A lot of it comes from his book, or the work I did in his book. Um, yeah, so let's take a look. So where can you start? Let's take a look at the next part. Well, where do I start? Well, you can start by getting. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the way here. There we go. So you can start by getting a journal. Like I've said before, you have your journals better, or even just some paper. And and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna think about the different areas in your life where you've betrayed yourself. Think of where places where you are not doing what you think is right. So it can be in your relationships. For example, are you watching porn? Are you talking to other girls? Are you whatever it is? You're going out with people and you're hiding it. Work. Are you cutting corners in work? Is your work not up to par? Are you saying you're doing things when you're not doing it? Community can be same thing, or even with your kids, like whatever areas you are out of integrity, self-betraying. Write down a few of them, and then once you have a few, go through them and look at what is the fear in that situation, just so you become aware of it. What are you afraid of? Like, what is, write down the worst outcome that can come from that fear and the greatest outcome, from exposing that fear, or that lie or whatever. What are the outcomes? You know, and then so what is causing you to hide it? And then look at, okay, what is the right thing for me? What do I think is right? And then if it's you go tell that truth, go to do the right thing. And once you've written them, choose one area and go tell the truth or do the right thing. Obviously, this will be difficult. Like I'm saying it here, it sounds easy when I'm talking about it, but this is extremely difficult in the beginning. So at first it'll be very, and then after a few tries, remember you will have to probably go back and try this more than once to get the full truth out. So maybe ask the person like, hey, just be patient with me. I'm trying to get the whole truth out, and then you do it. Um, it'll take a while before the whole truth out. But once everything is out and you keep doing it, it gets easier over time the more you do it. So that's where you will start. Right? That's the start of the journey. Uh, sorry. And then an extra tip, just like when you start being in line with what you believe is right and you start acting in, oh, I'm in the way again. Sorry. Let me just move. Oh no, that was not good. I'm sorry. Uh, I'll go back. Right. Okay. So, extra tip. When you start being in line with what you believe is right and start acting in integrity with yourself, you're still stuck in that panic and that fear and whatnot. Use the mantra from the previous episodes. I got this. I can handle it. No matter what happens, I've got it. I've got this. I can do it. I can handle it. Use the mantra. Even that mantra, if you did do the previous exercise, even that mantra that you made, that personal mantra, if you did make one, use that to get over that initial fear. Right? You just keep using it, and then yeah, shout out to Mr. Nomona, Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Glover. This is the work I did, or on a chapter of his book that we're covering, which is integrity. I definitely recommend getting the book. Doing this is gonna help your life. Uh, that's it for this one. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.